Philippines Blockchain Ecosystem Map.
This is going to be a very, very interesting topic because there's fresh news and regulations, especially in crypto and the ecosystem. So I'm Chezka Gonzales. I am also part of Blockchain Council of the Philippines with my co-board directors of Blockchain Council of the Philippines. And we're going to talk about the Philippines Blockchain Ecosystem Map. And there's no better person or organization to explain the Philippine blockchain ecosystem other than the Blockchain Council of the Philippines. But I'll let you introduce yourself first. Probably I'll start with Ms.
The first
Ida.
one where
You can introduce yourself.
the first one.
Okay.
Where,
My name's Ida
I felt
Seniza
like there
Chongson.
was too much time at the end.
I'm wearing a lot of hats. One of them
You wanna keep
is
going, keep
I'm a
going.
vice
Yeah.
chairperson of the Institute of Corporate
Trying to
Directors.
speak.
I also sit in it's a multi-billion investment company called Opal SPV. We buy distressed assets basically. I also sit in 3 publicly listed companies. What else?
Powerhouse.
Oh yes, of course. Blockchain Council of the Philippines, one of the trustees, Fintech Alliance as well. I did mention ICD, part of Management Association of Philippines as well. I chair the governance there. That's it for me.
Oh, we can go on and on because she has a long list of those credentials. Attorney Mark?
Introduce. Thanks, Chezka. So I'm Mark Guriseta. I'm the managing partner of our, unfortunately, I'm a lawyer. So I'm the managing partner of our law firm. It's called Guriseta Africa Cauton in Saavedra. So of course, we have offices here in the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. I head our corporate group and I also head our tech group practice. About us, I'd like to think we counsel to 75 or 80% of the relevant tech or fintech companies in the Philippines. Anything pertaining to tech or innovation, we are involved with respect to regulatory, licensing, frameworks. I'm part of the board of the Fintech Philippines Association, Blockchain Council of the Philippines, Global AI Council of the Philippines with Donald, Cybersecurity Council of the Philippines, and the Private Sector Advisory Council of the Office of the President. So, hope that's enough.
Another powerhouse. We can still also go on and on with everyone here with their list of credentials. Sir Donald?
Okay na yun. I'm shy. So, hi, I'm Donald. I'm president of a publicly listed holding company. We own the third telco here called DitoTel. At the same time, so by virtue of being a listed company, we also manage other services pertaining to what I call the ABC of digital, which is AI, blockchain, and cybersecurity. That's why Mark, Paul, and I were part of various councils. So technically, we're what I call the crazy people in the tech room. We try to advance what people do not see and try to propagate all of these, no? Whether it's the corporate sector, the user-based audience. No? Ida and I were with, and Mark, we're also with the Management Association. So we're the ones also ensuring that while technology moves ahead, there is some level of governance, making sure that we do not hurt people, we do not hurt companies, and everything is according to what is proper legal standards, corporate standards.
He's also the father of digital marketing in the Philippines, by the way.
It's old neon.
Paul?
Yeah, so hello, I'm Paul Suleiman. So I'm the co-founder, CTO, and the CEO of Bayani Chain. We're a layer 2 a blockchain provider here in the Philippines. We're the only local blockchain provider currently, meaning our system and nodes are here in the Philippines. Of course, I'm part of Blockchain Council of the Philippines together with these great people here. I'm also part of the Cybersecurity Council together with Attorney Mark and Donald Lim. And aside from that, I also advise in the government for blockchain infrastructure.
Oh, the only blockchain company in the Philippines. Infrastructure. Amazing. Thank you so much for that introduction. Okay, I'll start this conversation with asking you with what in one sentence, how would you describe the current state of the Philippine blockchain ecosystem? Start with Attorney Mark.
In one sentence, I guess exciting, thriving, but of course still with challenges. which would equate to opportunity still for all of us. That's why I guess we're here. As all of you may know, we're one of the first countries that came out with a VASP license in 2017, meaning it's a central bank recognized or allows, of course, the exchange of fiat to crypto and vice versa. And just past 48 hours, Ida, or 24, our Securities and Exchange Commission, for the first time, issued rules pertaining to crypto asset service providers. So if you want to do an ICO, if you want to do an order book in the Philippines, if you want to even do crypto staking, maybe the SEC may allow you already to do this. Maybe, depending on your requirements and your capacity. So, but yeah, I mean, exciting, thriving, but of course, still challenges, but yeah, we're
And
it's
lots of opportunities.
place to be.
Yes. It's an underrated market.
Yeah, I want to echo that. If not for like a couple of days ago, I would say very careful. But that has been changed to the correct word is exciting. With the crypto asset service provider law or regulation that just came out barely a couple of days ago, things are going to change. The blockchain infrastructure will be appreciated more, in my opinion. Well, you did say one sentence pala, no? So I'm going to say careful, but not restrictive.
Love that. I love that. Donald, one sentence.
Blockchain in the Philippines, in my opinion, is entering what is called the twin years. Twin. Like any child, we've gone through the baby steps, we've gone through infancy, baby, growing up. Now we're entering into almost the teenage years, if you look at the history, right? Twin. So we're trying to find our way. We're trying to, we know we've done a lot of head starts, like what Attorney Mark said, no? Whether from the license, from AFAV, from AXIN, everything. We have all of those success stories. But we're trying to find our way as we move up, right? So, obvious na may pinapalaking twin, no? So, we're moving up, eh. So, and I think the next 2 to 3 years would be very critical for us as we establish ourselves as a blockchain country. And that's why I said we're twin years, because that's going to be a lot of forks in the road. And we as an industry will have to make certain, very important decisions as a collective whole.
I'm excited for the adult years. It's been 4 years that we've been doing this. Paul?
Yeah, I think we're one of the advanced in terms of regulation and also policy. I'm proud to say that because we've been in other countries like Dubai and also Singapore. In fact, in Singapore, there's no CASP-like regulations right now, so it's still gray. But in a way, Philippines is in the middle. We're very open, yet we're close. So meaning you cannot just put up a crypto company here for an investment scam or something. We're really know how to in a way to have a policy for those kind of companies. So we're open in such a way that government is in a way open for dialogue on especially with public sector and with private sector and with for example with the council on what to do. So they're getting our advice and guidelines as well. So yeah, I think we're in the middle, both open and close. Yeah.
So, like a girl, hot and cold. So, for Miss Ida, I have a question about banks and finance, since that's your expertise. So, are banks and finance embracing blockchain or just trying to outpace it?
How many hours do we have?
Around 30?
Okay, so the appreciation of blockchain technology is happening in the finance sector now. So why do I say now? Why not before? With the advent of all this deepfakes, fraud, identity theft, the heart of blockchain, which is being a decentralized or a trust and immutability and all of that, the appreciation of having verifiable credentials is being looked at carefully. Let me start with the schools, where, in other areas, the certificates are being copied. That is changing because the schools are implementing verifiable credentials through blockchain. So It's open access. You can verify if indeed that certain person graduated in that school. So convert that into digital identification, the DDID. In case not aware, in October 2024, the IATA has already sandboxed or piloted kind of like a passport, but DDID, successfully in Hong Kong via Tokyo. And they've already spoken that in the future they would prefer all the countries to have a digital ID. So you have biometric, blockchain ID. In India, it has reduced fraud by 75%. So I'm going to go back to your question as far as the banks are concerned. Because of the advent of all this cybersecurity problem, the identity fraud, the verified identification is now the talk of town. In fact, according to the World Economic Forum, according to McKinsey, it's now ranking number 2 as far as top technology prediction 2026 onwards. The prediction as far as the banks are concerned, by 2020-30, most if not all of the banks will already have this in place. So as early as now, the banks are looking into that seriously. You have JP Morgan, I'm sure you've heard of Onyx, Kinesis. They relaunched that in Singapore Fintech Festival last year. Of course, everyone knows JP Morgan, the biggest, the largest in the world doing this. You have the Swiss banks doing CBDC. With all of these changes in the global finance sector, the Philippine banks cannot delay, and there's been a lot of inquiries about this. DICT, SEC, BSP, they're all looking at the verifiable credentials already. And I would give that less than a year that things will be implemented.
So banks cannot delay. So that's a good one. I really am excited for that. For you, Donald, for Dito, for the telcos, how can telcos help bring blockchain to the masses beyond just hype?
For us, it's really the connectivity. No, that's the biggest challenge. So right now, not only Dito, but of course now there are 3 telcos here operating. We have a single mandate. No, I think under the DICT, it's very important that for us to interconnect the 7,000 islands. No, and as we all know, working with the DICT, they also have what is called a Juan SIM, right? So those who are in the geographically disadvantaged, no, and isolated areas, they're trying to ensure that even if you only have 20 people there, you will have access. No? So I think as a telco, all of us are working hand in hand to ensure that there is the right connectivity. Because without the connectivity, we don't even talk about blockchain. No? I think that's very basic.
That's true. We don't even talk about blockchain if you do not have even internet. So for Paul, what does localized blockchain mean in real impact for the Filipinos?
Sure. So, in terms of cybersecurity and data, we need to be very, in a way, aware that, in the Philippines, I think there's a movement of crafting the law already for data sovereignty and data localization. So, if we don't have a local blockchain or nodes here, then I think we will have a problem in terms of using blockchain for identity and something like that, because I think the 4th industrial revolution, it's already intercrossing the physical and digital. So imagine if you're a Filipino and you have your passport is in the US in terms of data hosting. So I would not recommend that, right? So if I'm a Filipino, I want my data in my own country. So the government can, at the end of the day, can help me as well to secure it, right? So it's very important. It is very important as well if we're talking about assets, right? In the next coming years, like real world asset is gonna be a norm because of because of mining industry, because of real estate industry that are being tokenized. But again, like my analogy of, do you want your digital asset to be in the country that you are not there, right? Yep. So it's very relevant and it's timely for us to craft our digital sovereignty already.
And it's also good that you're, starting to have more infrastructure, blockchain infrastructure in the Philippines. Because when I'm in other countries, they would ask me, what other companies do you have in the Philippines? And I'm excited for us to have more here locally. For Attorney Mark, what's the biggest legal blocker or blind spot holding back blockchain adoption in the Philippines?
Legal blocker. Siguro, blockchain as a whole in the Philippines is still concentrated. When you say blockchain, they equate it to crypto immediately. When you say blockchain, if not crypto, probably NFTs, right? I'm not saying that's bad, but there's more to that. That's why I guess that's why we built Blockchain Council, no? That's why Donald is here, Ida, Marso, Paul. So with respect to the regulatory, I'd like to think that we're, as mentioned by Paul, we're one of the more advanced countries. We have frameworks, just imagine. We have a framework with the central bank. Anything pertaining to, if you use, crypto as a means of payment, conversion of fiat to crypto, then we have regulations for that. If the crypto or blockchain is used as an investment contract, the SEC would probably come in with respect to the new, again, crypto asset service providers, or service provider regulation. I guess still basic. With respect to legal here, while the regulations are there, I guess it's still the basic setting up. Still takes a lot of time. We have the regulations, but we don't know the timeline, right? If it's the sandbox, after the sandbox, what will happen if you're out of the sandbox, right? Other issues, not only legal, would be the basic connectivity. When you say about blockchain or crypto, it's equals to scandal, right? So a lot of education, cybersecurity concerns. Yeah.
And I think that's why we're all here, because we keep on fighting about, how blockchain it's more than crypto. And thank you for being here and helping us with this mission. I think for everyone, what do you believe is the greatest untapped potential of the Philippines? Anybody can start.
Okay, I'll start first. So so our talents are still in a way untapped, right? So meaning because we're in a way some sort of like our export is BPO, and in the advent of AI, we're kind of changing. We're kind of like seeing a lot of disruption that's gonna happen on that side. So instead of us being a BPO customer service-ish, we want to shift our BPO service to a more cybersecurity kind of like country. So we're talking to a former senator in Guam, and they want a partnership because at the end of the day, Philippine in terms of population, we're still young, right? We can at the end of the day, we can tap our senior high school graduate, which the government promises for these people to have a job after graduating their senior high school education. So I think that still on top is the talent, right? I mean, compared to Vietnam, it's maturing for their development kind of export. Philippines, in a nutshell, that's why we're Blockchain Council, Cybersecurity Council, and the Global AI Council. It's more of like trying to go to the education on that kind of partnership with the schools and government for us to really guide, right? Because right now, there's no blockchain education in the normal schooling. There's no AI education in the normal schooling. If you watch news in China and US, they're already incorporating AI on their curriculum. Yep.
And when I sell Philippines to other countries, I always tell them that untapped is the talent in the Philippines all the time. So, and more so in other countries. That's why even in UAE, there's a lot of Filipino service industries. But there are top talents here that are in the develop staging. What do you mean? Developers, and even any industry that you can think of, it's in the Philippines. How about you, Miss Ida?
Yeah. So the heart of the question is, what is Philippines' edge, right? As the population of the Philippines we're ranking 14th in the world. We're 114 million. Having said that, the population is generally young. So the average age is around about 26, 27 years old. And we are digitally savvy. So apart from that, I know there's, because of large language model, it's probably no longer an advantage, but at this point, let's be realistic. We are one of the few Asian comfortable speaking in English. Again, so there's education, English speaking, digital savvy. Having 7,000 islands is actually a major factor because that brings a lot of investments on different areas, connectivity. So generally friendly, but gathering all that information, plus you have regulators that are open and accepting technology. We have our own president who has this better program that's 9 trillion, I think, from memory, and moving towards making the whole country digital. I understand Attorney Mark is even part of that program. We have quite aggressive regulators pushing for advanced technology. I don't see why Philippines will not be the most, if one of the most, if not the most sought after country to invest in.
And that's a very good selling point to other countries. Just that video alone, we can sell Philippines to the world. How about you, Attorney Mark?
Sorry, the question is, again, to be very clear lang.
What do you think is the greatest untapped potential of the Philippines?
Untapped potential. Wow. So like, I guess, with respect to blockchain, pwede.
And in
Yeah,
general,
for
in
blockchain, there's so much in my mind. But if we can leverage or maximize, optimize the use of blockchain with respect to remittances, oh my gosh, right? So that will solve financial inclusion. Just imagine how much an OFW can send to the Philippines just with respect to the use of blockchain. There's transparency, of course, compared to the remittance fee of a typical remittance agent. I'm sure you know the math there. But I think that's one aspect that we can use. We have the regulations that will allow us to do that. The central bank has a sandbox that would even allow you to apply for a stable coin. We're only one of the few countries in the world that is also even considering central bank digital currencies. So a lot of potential. Even let's say we're here, gaming, right? Gaming. So our PAGCOR, keeping in mind governance, keeping in mind really making sure that payments are secure. And not equate gaming into anti-money laundering. So what they did, the PAGCOR now also partnered with the Fintechs, right? They're saying, okay, we'll allow this community to thrive. So help us out here. So payment gateways will give you a framework wherein you will allow you to work with these gaming platforms as long as the payment gateways will be accredited by the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation. Those simple things, but I think we're getting there. So much out there.
Thank you. Donald?
For me, I look at, when you talk about untapped potential, I look at markets. So again, like what Attorney Mark said, no, for me, the two pillars that is really supporting the Philippine economy and how we get the dollars is really number one, the remittance. So you talk about OFW market, I think that's massive, no? Which Attorney Mark said. And second would be the BPO market. And the BPO market would be, if we upskill them, we can really become a real hub for blockchain talent. So I think you have the two pillars there. I think from an overall perspective also, we're always being viewed as a country that if you want to do business, a lot of things happen under the table. If the governments allow blockchain, it would actually provide a lot of transparency in public documents. So we can change that mindset altogether overnight. If we are the first governments to really embrace blockchain in public records, no, and how we file, how we do all of that, though. I think some cities are experimenting already. So I think it's going to be, hopefully we get more cities, LGUs. Top-down is going to be a bit hard, so maybe it's going to be a bit of bottoms-up.
I think Ms. Ida wants to add more on.
If you don't mind, before Paul, because si Paul has a lot of information there. No, untapped potential. Okay. So who are investors here, may I ask? Who are into investments? Yes. Anyone else? I mean, nearly all of us. If you can invest 1,000 pesos, why not, right? It can grow 10,000, 1,000, millions, and whatever. And this is where I'm hoping the expansion of the CASP license, the cryptocurrency asset service provider license. Why do I say that? Between a startup where your risk of losing money is close to 84%, compared to a company that may have been in distress because of COVID or whatever minor issues, they're not able to borrow from banks or look for actual investors. For that, between the two, the one on the right, the B, would have better chance of survival because they already have proof of work. They just need funding. So going back to untapped potential, if now, not just Philippines, but the world, if you have all this access to finance via tokenization, even with the small, medium businesses, that will be fantastic because it can solve the problem of financing. 70% of the businesses to date, especially the small, micro, medium, large enterprises, the problem is financing. So it's either you borrow or get investors in, but getting investors in, you cannot go public, it's difficult, or you try to get from friends or high finance. So I'm hoping an expansion of this CASP in the future, in the very near future, because there really is an untapped market that would be good for both investors and businesses.
Thank you, Ms. Ida. I think this is for everyone. So, what's one real-world use case that could make blockchain actually matter to everyday Filipinos in the next 1 to 2 years? I think this is always the question of the masses, of mass adoption. So, probably give us a sample of an existing, or you wish that it exists in the future.
On our company, Bayani Chain, so we help the government. So just so you know, so the Department of Budget and Management is already tokenizing the budgets, all right, of the whole country, meaning the issuance of this budget to the police, to the ENR, to those environment, and we're going live this June. So in a way, if you really want blockchain as a catapult to transparency, and then the government is doing that already. So you can see all the budget issuance of DBM on their platform later on that is minted on Polygon in our local chain. So that's the update. And I think one good use case as well is real world asset, or RWA. Since Philippines, in a way, I might be wrong, but I think we're in the top 20 mineral rich country in the world. So and we're not consuming a lot of mining assets or mining commodities, etc. Unlike Indonesia, that powers their GDP around maybe 10% of their export. So imagine these mining companies create their own tokens for them to be able to help extract the minerals, but at the same time, OFW can invest on the mining asset that has a real value because it's collateralized and tokenized on, let's say, for example, black sand or gold, etc. So I think, so I think RWA will be very much, will enable a lot of masses to not really invest, but to dabble on cryptocurrency side. Yeah.
And having Department of Budget there is really a big help for Filipinos as a whole country. Anybody?
Okay. Yeah, I guess like for use cases, no. In the Philippines, one of our biggest problem here is the mistrust in our government. So the best entity to use blockchain would be the government, right? So that's why I guess Paul has been starting that. You've been working with DBM, LTO, and I was with the SEC yesterday. They are also developing or using blockchain with respect to the submission of reports, right? To really enhance transparency. So when an investor will go to the Philippines, the report is there, the financial statements, the general information sheet, everything, which cannot be altered, right? So I understand the Bureau of Treasury, the central bank is also adopting blockchain. So with this, aside from Of course, as I mentioned earlier, the other obvious use cases would be remittance and the stable coins, the CBDCs. But I guess for me, if like the government would be able to leverage on this technology, then and that would also mean less discretion, more transparency, less discretion, then that would probably help us get out of being a, I don't know, third world country and to really move up as a middle income earning country. That's what I think.
You see that?
Okay, I'm gonna go for an adjective, no? I'll go for authenticity. Authenticity of the asset that you're purchasing. Is that an Hermes bag? Yes, because it's on blockchain. It's authentic. Is that a real title to that property? Yes, because it's on blockchain. Authenticity as in, is this really your credentials? You really graduated at the University of the Philippines? Yes, because it's on blockchain. So for me, is that your real identification? Are you really Ida Chongson? Yes, because of the blockchain. So for me, authenticity because of blockchain's immutability. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the assets for you to verify, or a lot of the information for you to verify authenticity will eventually be in the blockchain, and appreciation of the authenticity will happen very soon. It's actually already happening.
And no one can pretend that they're doing this or that because it's already in the blockchain. Donald?
For me, it's really the government, like what Attorney Mark said, no, should be the front runner in using it. And for it to reach critical mass, it has to be critical mass. And for me, number one is really identity and social services. So whether you've seen the ayudas and the 4Ps during COVID, even up to now, every LGU, I'm sure, and I won't expound further, like if social services, that's a lot of holes that the money goes through before it reaches the end user. I think if you put blockchain there, identity, and you connect that to social services, everyone on the blockchain, everyone will be on the blockchain, and you can record every transaction, and with confidence, you can actually provide that level of accountability to all of the leaders in government. That's why for me, I really want to use blockchain for transparency. If any LGU would use it, even, again, not at the national level, even at the LGU level, if they were to push that, then it automatically makes their unit very, very clean, right? Very trustworthy because it's on the blockchain.
Yeah, thank you. I want to give a sample because for Philippine Blockchain Week, we actually launched recently the fish block. So we did if you know the fish balls, the street food that we all eat here, anywhere, you can buy it for cheap price. And then, you know, the small enterprises, the MSMEs, we wanted to involve the MSMEs and the street vendors and everyone for mass adoption. That's why we started that campaign of fish blocks. So it's fish balls, but in a block form because blockchain. And so it's more of showing the world that, you know, this is not just about the government or you should know a lot of things before you know blockchain. It can be learned. It can be used every day, even by a street vendor. So yeah, probably you can invite them to more discussions next week for another event for Philippine Blockchain Week on June 10 and 11. We'll be doing more in-depth explanations, especially the CASPs and all of the regulations that we want to talk about. You might want to invite them to your personal events.
Yes, please do attend. Don't miss out. Philippine Blockchain Week is already happening June 10 and 11 right here at SMX. Contact, you can go through the website or look at the Philippine Blockchain, the Blockchain Council of the Philippines Facebook page to actually access through that. On my part, we'll be talking about the expansion on the finance. It's going to be quite exciting, and some of the updates and things that are happening in not just the Philippine ecosystem, but what's happening in the world.
Yeah, so just to echo, yes, very excited. We'll also be launching the Philippine Blockchain Report, first ever. So it's in collaboration with the Blockchain Council of the Philippines, my law firm, and also GoBicor. It's a VC in the VC in the region, no? And supported by Tether and of course Coins.ph. So basically, you'll see there it's quite comprehensive as a first report. It's a 50 to 70 pager, if I'm not mistaken. And you would see there the blockchain, the entire literally, the blockchain ecosystem, the players, the stakeholders, the associations, the service providers. So if you want to be in this business, that's the map that you would want to see. And also, what else? In my segment, I think we'll be discussing for the first time the CASP, or the Crypto Asset Service Provider License regulations or rules. So in that panel with me would be the SEC director who drafted the rules, of course. And if I'm sure a lot of you have questions, so that would be the venue for them to answer your questions. So yes, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, so in Philippine Blockchain Week, I will be discussing about the playbook on how we tokenize the government and other real-world use cases. And also, just to second attorney's Mark, not promotion, but the launch of the Philippine Blockchain Report, the ecosystem map. It's very comprehensive. Our company has been doing the research, and we see that it's really there. I mean, everything is there. So yeah, so
Donald?
Okay, so again, just not to over-invite, but the Philippine Blockchain Week is really, I think, a snapshot of the Philippine ecosystem. We've seen how it grew through the years, and also rode the wave ups and downs, right? So again, for me, it's really the story of the Filipino in blockchain. You will see there also a lot of components. So you will get 100 global speakers, so flying in. You will have a fight night, so there's going to be a boxing ring in one of the halls.
Here.
So here, in this hall, you will also have a somewhat of a Got Talent. So it's a Chain Star, Got Talent. The winner goes to Dubai to compete. For the boxing ring, it's an exhibition match. So everything under the blockchain, different executions. We term the theme Decoded because it is, in essence, we've been propagating blockchain, and yet if you go to anyone outside of SMX, they still cannot explain what is blockchain. So there still needs a lot of education that needs to happen. We're very grateful. We're partnered with SiGMA across many fronts. We're here to really ensure that we know that if we are successful in blockchain, the Philippines can be very successful also as a country. So it goes hand in hand, and that's why we encourage everyone to really be part of this journey.
Yeah, siguro I just want to add, not to oversell, but in the Philippine Blockchain Week, we talk about not only about blockchain, but the synergy of blockchain with Fintech. Of course, we're not blind with AI. That's why we founded the Global AI Council. So what is the interplay of blockchain and AI? And what is even the conversation in the Office of the President pertaining to AI, right? So very interesting. So we're all excited to see you.
Probably I'll just add a little more because it will be overselling. But it's more of a gaming as well, cosplay. It's targeting the masses, the mass adoption really, and not just all the, the formal, the very informative, aside from the informative and educational thing. You get to experience the fun as well because we have a crypto fight night happening. It's going to be an MMA and boxing. And so, yeah, I hope to see you next week. Olga's going to be there. AIBC is an event partner. So thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much from Blockchain Council of the Philippines, and we're excited to see you next week.